Welcome back to the MartiniWorks Podcast, Season 2, Episode 4.
Very good.
think we're jumping in with some car updates. For those that might be new to the podcast, welcome. I'm Alex, this is Gels, and this is Dakota.
Hi.
And we like when you mod your car at MartiniWorks.
We do like that.
We do like that quite a bit, which, to be completely honest, is very exciting. Last time we filmed the podcast, a set of rays just randomly showed up.
I can't wait to see what shows up today.
I would love for another set of rays just randomly come through the door. But let's start off with new updated projects. By the way, if you guys haven't subscribed yet to MartiniWorks, please do so. And yes, if you're looking for car parts this tax season, mod your car at MartiniWorks. You can buy from the homies that just want to help you build your car right. Dakota.
Hi.
I was in your car yesterday.
The Jetta.
The Jetta.
Nice.
And she was pissing coolant.
Yeah, it is.
Let's start the update
actually?
with what we need to fix. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I've tried to find and hunt down this coolant leak. I've even given up and taken it to a shop. I left it at the shop for a few days, and they called me up, and they're like, hey, it's not leaking. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I was like, my driveway tells me otherwise. And they're like, well, listen, okay, you removed your belly pan, which I did because it got all fucked up and half the screws were missing. So I took it off, and they're like, what's happening is when you use your AC, it's building up a ton of condensation. These cars build up like a lot. Since the belly pan's gone, it's just pouring out. You're seeing more than what you're used to. And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense.
Get behind that.
But I'm also topping off my coolant. And I was like, well, fuck, maybe I'm burning coolant then, I guess. Whatever. I guess we'll figure that out. So I take the car back. No, I'm fucking pissing coolant everywhere. They're so full of shit. Pisses me off taking it to a shop, pay $150 or whatever for them to diagnose literally nothing, and then I still have an issue, so that sucks. But yeah, recently it started pissing even more coolant.
Oh, God.
And I'm sure with these Mark IV Volkswagens, you get a lot of corroded hoses and stuff like that. I don't know. I have to check out my radiator. Maybe that's cracked a little bit or something. I'm not quite sure. It's not overheating or anything. It's just annoying topping off coolant every week.
We love a good Volkswagen. So I feel like there always has to be something. If it's not coolant, it's
always
oil.
something.
It's not oil, it's the heated seats going out. If it's not that, it's something else. It's like Volkswagens, Euro cars, they always have one.
It's
There's
weird.
always one
It's
thing.
like oddly solid and more solid than some of the Volkswagens I've owned in the past. So it's not bad. It's just an annoying leak.
Yeah.
So it's hunting that down, trying to figure it out. But I don't know. I've been on this kick lately in my mind, just bugging me every day of selling everything and figuring out what I would get next.
That's the mid life crisis.
Yeah.
Doing a hard reset.
If I did, it would just be something cheaper, but still cool.
You're thinking the prestige your cars.
No, I would definitely. Well, I guess prestiging, yeah, you start back at level
you
0.
start back at, but you know everything you need to know.
Yeah.
You're not going into an expensive car. You're going into something maybe budget friendly.
Yeah.
Do you have
So-
anything in mind?
No, not really, because I'm not that serious. Like, every time I start thinking about it even slightly remotely serious, then I'm like, never mind, I want to keep the Super Alex. So,
What about you, Dakota? What's
I'm Dakota.
Would you need to
Alex
stop?
does this every
You
day.
need to stop.
You think you guys get our names mixed up? Alex does it more.
all right, Giles?
God.
Giles, what do you have to? My dad used to do that. He'd be like,
that's
Yeah,
just
my
a
parents
dad
He'd be like-
thing.
he'd be
Maybe
like-
that's what it is. You're just getting older.
he'd be like Jorge, Pepe, Jose, Blake. I'm like, it's Alex. It's always been Alex. I'm like, you named me. He's like, well, mijo, come here, let's talk. Gels,
Hi.
gel free.
Hello.
What is new with you?
Not much. I did finally get my winter tires
Yeah,
put on.
there you go.
Let's
You got
go.
new wheels
55
and,
degrees out today.
but you know how it goes in April.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I'm going to do the video. I'm going to install them. I'm going to do all the stuff that I set out to do
In 45-degree weather.
in 45-degree weather
It is
because
hot as
I
hell.
know. I've lived in Wisconsin my whole damn life. I know better than to trust the false spring.
Yeah.
I know better because
We're
I
in
know
false
damn well
spring.
there is at least one more major fucking 24-inch snow dump
There's
coming
gotta
really
be.
soon.
It's almost a double spring, a double pre-spring.
Yeah.
Because there's no way it should be this warm.
No.
In the end of February.
It's making me more concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
That this shit's going to go into like June.
Yeah, they started talking about
Yeah.
like global warming when I was in, elementary, middle school, and then I go outside on February 19th and it's 56 degrees and I'm like, who the fuck? What's happening?
They might have been onto something.
But no, you haven't done huge changes to the car, but you also have a Grom?
Do have Grom.
What happened there? It looked pretty cool.
Thanks. Did I not talk about that? No.
I don't think you did.
I don't think you did on the podcast.
No.
Oh shit! Yeah, I wrapped my Grom. Well, put a bunch of stickers on it, in a sense. But I did wrap the plastics. So yeah, I bought a decal kit from 77 Decals. It's a Mazda 787B, the Charge Renown livery, which is pretty freaking awesome.
It's iconic.
It's really iconic, and putting it on a Honda,
Mazda Grom.
Say what you say about that, but it looks fucking sick, and I can't wait to put it next to RX-8. No, it turned out really, really dope. So I had to go and wrap all the plastics in a matte black first, because the kit itself, my Grom, that generation, there's a lot of angles and stuff on it, and doing like a printed kit like that with a wrap would be damn near impossible if it wasn't cut into sections. So obviously there's like pieces that like show through, so I didn't want bright red coming through a orange and lime green. I thought it would look a little off, but yeah, I spent a few days doing that. I really took my time on it, and I think it turned out really damn good, and it completely transformed the look of that thing. So
if you guys want to go check it out, head over to YouTube, type in Gels. He pops up 100%
I'll be there.
of the time. Dude, that thumbnail. Sorry, that thumbnail.
You like the thumbnail?
Dude, I was on one of the other accounts. I was on the Torque Motorsport YouTube account, and I went to the home screen, and I saw the thumbnail, and I was like, this is a really good-looking That's Gels. I was like,
hell yeah.
damn, that was a good one, dude. That was super cool.
that,
And
appreciate that.
I feel like that aligns with our 2024 trends when we talked about the liveries coming to cars.
Absolutely. And I've been seeing it more and more, too, which is absolutely fucking awesome. I'm excited for that trend to take off and to be able to do that with just the Grom too. Because I mean, it's my first motorcycle, and it's been an absolute blast. We go out ride them during the summer and stuff like that. We're planning some trips for this summer, which is fun. Yeah, I can't wait for it because it's just a fun thing to just tinker with and modify. And there's a ton of aftermarket stuff for them, and they're a blast to ride. And you can't get in too much trouble with them because it goes like 50 miles an hour. So
Hear me out.
All right.
The Renesis engine in the RX-8 is very small. Physically, it's just small. The Grom.
There were rotary motorcycles back in the day. I could try to find something like that, even
would
if it's
be
just
a
like a
crazy
one rotor like engine or something. It'd be fucking
Technically,
crazy.
it's a very balanced engine, right? Like it should do just fine.
It'd be awesome.
That would be
really cool.
Terrible in every way.
I know it would be sick.
Yeah, it would be sick if you nailed it. Yeah, for the 15% of the time that it runs, it'd be fucking awesome.
No, other than that, it is the warmer weather is giving me the itch to finally start working on the 240, get everything figured out there. It's kind of just been, it's currently under like wrap backing and Koenig boxes and everything in my garage. Currently, I feel really bad for it, but
Gels,
we're gonna get it figured out.
Gels.
Hi.
You have 2 months.
Yep.
To figure out your brake situation. Because we will not be fucking with your brake
I
fluid
don't want
at
to.
the first drift day.
No,
again.
we
I'm
wont
not doing
be.
it.
We won't be, because if it does it again,
You're
when
just
it's
not
up there,
braking on the track.
I'm just gonna fucking send it off the track and leave it in the woods.
Oh my god. You gotta get that fixed. Dude.
I'm trying.
It doesn't sound like it.
Well,
It's
no,
covered in
it's-
Koenig boxes.
I needed a break.
Well, speaking of cars that need to be done, Alex,
Yeah,
I haven't
what
heard an
about-
S2K update in a while.
Well, that's we've hit a small roadblock.
What?
Good news. Good news, everything is there for the car to be technically done.
Okay.
Bad news, I got a set of seat rails from an online store that's specialized in S2000 stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's in stock. Go ahead, buy it. Sick. Everything. Bought it all at the same time.
Yep.
Status seats, custom made to order, absolutely badass looking, come in 4 weeks. Happy. Steering wheel from Grip Royal, custom center, like little like horn button, custom stitching. Got there 3 weeks. I'm like, sick. And then the harnesses from Status came 2 weeks after, because I ordered them 2 weeks after, and I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something. And I'm like, where the hell are these seat rails at?
Uh-oh.
So I reach out to the company. I'm like, hey, do you know where these are? Did they get lost in shipping? They're like, oh, no, they're not made yet. I'm like, what do you mean they're not made? They're like, oh, well, they're estimated to be ready in mid-March. I'm like,
the fuck?
absolutely not. I'm not waiting that long. Why didn't you tell me that? They're like, well, sometimes.
People cancel sometimes when they
Sometimes-
find out it takes 4
The classic in stock, not in stock.
Yeah, so
label.
I was pretty pissed about that. So I told them,
So you got your seats?
yeah, so I have the seats. They're in the garage.
Yeah, I haven't even seen them.
I know I'm pretty excited for it. So really, all we have left is the seat rails that we're waiting to get in, and then the two smaller like mechanical things is I do want to get the speedometer working in the
probably
dash.
be good.
And I would really like to get the power steering working
That would also be good.
as well, which I'm assuming is a relatively easy thing to do. So I'm going to probably reach out to Hybrid Racing, see what they would recommend, because I think it's just a transfer swap piece that you have to install and get done right. So once those two things are done, and then we get the ability to put the seats in the car, it's figuring out the hardtop and then shakedown, which I'm sure something will break or something will leak. But then I'm going
absolutely.
to save a little bit of money for, I think we'll need some tie rods. I think we'll probably need a different differential.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start saving up for that and then just mentally prepare.
For when it inevitably
blows up.
blows up. No.
Jesus.
No, that engine ain't blowing up.
No, the engine ain't, but the things around it might. So that's the update on the S2K. Z's coming along. Gels, you're a trooper, dude.
Yeah,
You are a
we're gonna have a
trooper.
video
My
out
hands
on
are a
this.
trooper.
Yeah.
but,
And it's mostly just going to be a shit show.
just gonna be screaming, cussing, throwing.
Screaming, cussing,
punching.
bleeping, parts flying.
punching the air. It was terrible. I would argue. I mean, I didn't even do as much as you did, but the time that I was underneath there trying to get heat shields out and shrouds out of the way and bracing out of the way, it is by far the worst downpipe exhaust.
I can't imagine what would be worse.
There can't be. There literally cannot
Other
be
than
anything
dealing with
worse.
something that's like rusted to shit and like breaking and disintegrating in your hands, this
And for people that haven't done it, explain like what makes it so difficult compared to other downpipes.
It's they tucked everything up in there. Obviously, everything on this engine is assembled beforehand. Like the engine is out of the car. They throw everything on it. They throw the manifolds, the turbos, the downpipes, everything, and then when it's manufactured, they drop it into the car. So once it's in there, you cannot service it. Like what we did and what people are doing to put the aftermarket downpipes in this car should not physically be possible, but we make it work. So yeah, everything is covered in a heat shield underneath there because the engines suffer from heat soaking issues. The cars get really hot, so they did everything that they could to minimize that.
Really tight engine bay,
And
with
it's
a 6-cylinder
super
twin turbo.
super tight. And then on top of that, you have 3 and 4 piece heat shields for each downpipe piece because there's a primary and secondary, and then there's another one around the turbo itself, and then the manifold. So it's all just like 10 mil bolts all
Everywhere.
around a very tight area to that you have to remove to then remove the heat shield to then get to the V-band to then remove the downpipe. And it is just the worst fucking thing ever. So eventually what I ended up doing is, and apparently I was talking to Charlie about this because he has obviously done a lot of stuff with the Infinities and the Nissan now. He said that we were lucky because depending on who put that car together from Nissan, the way that they position those V-bands, sometimes they're up around and you can't even get to the bolt and you have to like really fuck with it. Ours were at least
They're angled
easily
down.
enough accessible where they're angled down. So I just took a pry bar and just fucking bent the shit out of those heat shields out of the way to then just run a long extension and a couple wobble things up there to get on it. Because I was done dealing with heat shields. I was done trying to get 10 millimeter bolts that were recessed into a heat shield and then were covered by a coolant line for the engine. It was horrible.
There's just a lot of like stamping on the heat shield. So the surface isn't a consistent level,
No,
which
it's
is
all-
really annoying.
yeah.
And then you try to seat something onto these 10 mil and they just don't seat.
Yeah, you can't get a wrench on it because the wrench is
It's too thick.
flat. So it's like it won't recess down. You even get like a like a wrench with like the swivel head on it, and it's not enough because it's too round and it doesn't go down. You can't get a socket in there unless you have like a fucking socket wrench that's like that thick because there's just no room. Everything was horrible. Like every bolt that we touched was an ordeal.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing easy about any of them, and I couldn't wrap my head around how something could be worse.
Yeah, we should do a video where me and you just sit down in front of a camera, like 12, 15 minutes long, and just say, if you're looking to install Nissan Z downpipes, we're going to give you the top 10 tips on what we learned because this sucked.
Yeah,
because
and it may not be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think, in all honesty, when I was looking at like the engineering of it, and you can very clearly tell that when they put this engine into the Z, somebody at Nissan or Infiniti was like, we have to find a way to deal with what will inevitably be heat soak. And I think the solution was either like redesign or add more heat shields. And they're like, we just are going to add more.
Which is insane with the giant front grille that's on that car that's even an issue.
I know. Isn't that crazy? I would say honestly, in terms of all the difficult things I've probably done to a car, that was the most painful thing.
Dude,
because
my
it wasn't, and it should be clear, it's not that it was difficult. It was that it was just a massive pain in the ass. We knew we had to take stuff off the car. It wasn't that. It was, you can't fucking reach it.
Yeah, you can't get to what you need. Like I said, it was not intended to be done.
Yeah.
Like, to service those parts, the engine would have to come out. Like, there's just no fucking way. Like, the turbos need to come out of that. That's an engine out procedure. There's no way you're getting to those unless you're taking, like, the heads and everything off, because everything is just tucked up underneath this V6 engine. Yeah, it sucked. But you know what? They're fucking out of the car.
Yep, and that's what matters.
And it may have taken a week to do so, but they're out of the car.
Yeah, I feel bad. We had it on the, like, we're just using 2 jacks and you know, just something really simple. But I do feel bad. Like, if you're doing this in a garage, shit, bro, that's gonna be tough. There's 2 videos I think out there on YouTube of that, and I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a dude that did it in his garage
On jack stands.
On jack stands. Whoever. I will put your name up or something, but you are a homie because we used your video to get us in the right path. Yep. And then I think we're just going to create another video to help the people that went to your video.
Fill in the gaps, because there literally is 2 videos that exist that even slightly go into depth on this topic. One is that guy's that we're talking about. The other one is TJ's. And even those videos, like, we know exactly the part where they're like, just put down the camera. We just need to fucking get this done. Because that the part that struggles the most is the part that is not even in the videos. They're like, yeah, so you're gonna have to figure out how to get that off. It sucks. Like, that is the premise of all of the videos. So there's literally 2 videos out there right now, which is crazy because when these things do eventually start to get more affordable, you know, when they're 5, 6, 8 years old, and people do start scooping them up and want to modify them, they're either only going to be going with the secondary cats, the secondary downpipes, because those honestly weren't that bad to get to, or they're going to need to find something, and there's just really nothing out there or a good way to do it. And
it reminds me of the 300ZX. It really does. In terms of difficulty in the engine bay and the space and the tightness. I will say the FI exhaust that we put on it too, quick little update. So the V1 version we had, right, has the upper and lowers and then the catback. And I did like the sound of the exhaust with just the catback, but it was awfully quiet.
It's quiet.
There was not that much of a change. So FI exhaust actually went and made a V2 that now includes the lower downpipes as just part of the catback system.
Because those weren't like the only tough part about getting the secondary cats out, or like the lower ones, is that you have to have literally what did we buy, 24, 28 inch?
A long extension.
The longest extension we could find, and it almost wasn't even enough to go from the top to get a couple of the bolts out that connect those 2.
That was very scary.
And we the amount of force that we had on those
breaking
things,
shit.
dude, we had the entire jack handle on a breaker bar that was on this 24-inch extension that was dug like 3 feet into the engine bay.
That was defying physics.
And Alex is like literally laying on this I'm like, something is gonna break. Something's gonna break. And literally you would just hear boom, and like it sounded like something exploded. No, that was just
I thought I ruined
just the nut coming free. I cannot believe that nothing rounded or stripped out, because
I feel like Nissan
holy fuck.
Nissan torqued the bolts appropriately. And hear me out. I think Nissan, the difference between the 2 bolts torquing is either Nissan or Infiniti. I swear to God, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like there's something's perfect. You know, like 40 foot-pounds, 60 foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds. Everything's like nice and easy. And then every once in a while, we come across a random fucking bolt that's like 700 foot-pounds of torque.
It's like welded on.
This is not coming off. And it's like, what? But it's just an exhaust bolt.
Yeah.
Why did it take so much work? Why do we have to cut it in half?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's what's going on with the Z.
Car has like no miles on it. It's just like these
biggest
bolts
pain in the
are
ass.
cemented in.
Could you imagine that car with 140,000 miles trying to get a bolt out?
Imagine those corroded. Like if you buy a Northern Z and it's corroded underneath, you're never getting those downpipes out.
Nope,
you are not.
Yeah, that's done.
I guess if you take the engine out, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That was a really fun experience, though. I'm glad we learned that we are never doing downpipes.
I'll do it again. Now that I know. Now that I know that you just slam a fucking crowbar up in there, bend everything out of the way, and just release it. Don't even fuck with the heat shields. Do not fuck with the heat shields. Don't even try. Just bend it. You're not going to reuse them. You're not going to fucking care about them. Just get them out of there.
Gels I'm going to get you some heat shields for Christmas.
Thank you.
I do want to say, by the way, if you guys are hearing this and you're thinking about getting downpipes for your Z, go give them hell. I will say
they are.
If you think you can do it better than I can, wink.
I would say,
Out of your car, Martini.
yeah, is exactly what I was going to jump into. So, for that being said, I do want to give a shout out to Marcus M, Drew B, Jacob W, Benjamin M. My boy Benjamin M is getting some new wheels for his Mustang. I'm very excited.
yeah.
for
What'd he
that.
get?
He got some works.
Ooh.
We got some work. So we will get those into the shop. We'll do some content on them, which, by the way, if you guys are looking for work wheels, we can get them. We just don't have them on the website yet. Ben P, twice.
Ben P.
Only got 2 things. And then Caden R, Marcus M, Tyler H, Joshua G, Tim S, Kevin H, James K, Jeffrey B, Tim S again, Joe E. Thank you so much for supporting the MartiniWorks
Shout out to you guys.
podcast. You guys
For
are
real, though.
absolutely awesome. So that being said, do we take a break
Yep.
yet? All right. When we come back, what are we talking about?
Talking about track builds versus show builds.
That'll be interesting.
But before we do that, we're gonna
Talk about
Soup. What's your
no.
favorite
No.
soup?
clam chowder. We are going to be talking about our sponsor for the MartiniWorks podcast, Continental Tire. Continental has been supporting the podcast pretty much since day one, which is absolutely awesome. And even better than that, it's a brand that we truly, truly trust. I think we have it on all of our vehicles, and they've been absolutely incredible. From their daily driver tires, like their DWS 06, or if you need some winter tires, like the Viking Contact 7s, or if you're a track rat and you need some ECS 02s, they got it all covered, and they're absolutely phenomenal tires. So thank you so much for Continental sponsoring the podcast. And if you need Continental tires, you can check out MartiniWorks.com.
They got like every damn size known to man, too.
That too.
Made it nice.
Hell yeah. See you in a minute. So, track cars versus show cars. Is that pretty much what we're talking about today?
I've never really built a track car
Well,
specifically.
it's tough. I don't
Same.
know. I don't know if I can honestly say I've gone into a car and been like, this is specifically only for track.
Is that not what the S2K is?
Well, yeah, but that was, in the last year. I'm trying to think.
Like previously?
Yeah, the G86, the Gloria. Like it's been a lot of newer cars, I think, to be completely honest. But then, to be fair, our previous life was mostly focused on
The show.
the show
stance.
stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there one that's technically better than another? I think it's easy to dog on show cars, right?
Well, we
It's easy
always
to dog
talk.
on, yeah.
We've said this a million times, but race cars can be show cars, but not all show cars can be race
I don't
cars.
know, I've seen some pretty shitty track cars.
Yeah, but they're still dope. Like, even if they're beat the fuck up, you're like, man, I'd love to fucking
there's-
race on that.
I still think there's like a threshold. Like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think one's better than the other, but you definitely have to go about things differently. I've definitely focused. I love both. I love both a lot. And I think as I've gotten older and I've done a lot of more show-oriented builds, I've started gravitating more towards, I don't want to say track, but like
Functional.
functional builds. But like still keeping that show in it. Like I'm gonna put on parts that aren't necessarily gonna affect anything other than making it look dope. But I definitely have leaned more and made more decisions focused on that functionality. And I think that just happens because like I've done so many different kinds of show builds, and it's like, well, I've done that. Now I kind of want to dabble in this.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think when I look at which one I've enjoyed more, I think there's always a fun element of being on the track with a car that you can't beat. Whether that's something as huge as Road America, or whether that's something as small as US Air. Technically a small track. I'm not saying it's a small impact, but there is something really fun about getting out there and just driving.
Yeah.
It scares the fuck out of me, to be honest. Every time, I get scared.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking because you're like, anything could go wrong at any second.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like adrenaline, you know.
You have to put a lot of faith, not faith. You have to put a lot of confidence in your tires and your brakes and your suspension and
yourself.
Yourself too.
And I think that like almost sixth sense, which is feeling the car as it's doing its own thing. But it's so easy to dog on the show scene, and I don't know if all of that is really deserved. It's almost like you're picking on a past that you were almost indefinitely a part of at some point. You know, people, they go to their first autocross day or their first time killing cones, and then all of a sudden they're like, fuck the show scene. The car
this
show
is
scene,
my life now.
The car show scene's so lame. It's you guys. All your cars are not functional. It's like, you went to one autocross day, dude. Like, chill out.
I can't comprehend how people can't just understand the car show scene. Like, you don't have to be about it. You don't have to do it, and you don't even necessarily have to like it. But to just not even understand where those people are coming from and what they want to do with their car, it baffles me. I don't understand that.
The car show scene is the easiest and probably most welcoming community you can get into in the automotive space, in my opinion.
Where I met everybody in the car.
I mean,
Exactly.
literally, yeah.
You'll meet more people. You'll find more friends. You'll find more things to do. You'll find more other things that you vibe with these people than any other scene. I have been to the drift stuff and the track stuff and all, and it's still there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it is not at the same depth or breadth.
I think where it comes in is like, you know, when you're first starting to like get into everything, say like you just got your driver's license, you just picked up your first car, you're starting to do stuff with it. It's like 9 times out of 10, you're not, the first thing that you're doing isn't taking it to an autocross or a drift event, or, you know, obviously there's the cases that is the thing, you know, you grew up in like a racing family or whatever. But, you know, for the most, like for me, for instance, it was like, I want to get, you know, more involved in stuff, and it's like I want to understand what I'm doing and you know what the car scene is. So it's like you start going to meets, you start going, you know, those meets turn into shows, and then you hang out with people that want to go to bigger shows, and it's like that's where I think, like, you know, I like started to get involved in everything, and why a lot of people start out in that is because it's like you said, it's more welcoming, it's bigger. It's more broad in a sense, like you get a little bit of everything. Where obviously like motorsport track kind of stuff will be a little bit more niche. There's a higher cost entry for the most part, because you're risking breaking things. You got to have like certain things so
I think
you can do what you want. Not saying that shows can't be expensive and show builds aren't, because like I would argue that sometimes the show stuff costs a little bit more, because then you're talking about like, you know, the rarity of parts and things like that. So no, I'd say that the reason why we see a lot of the bigger stuff start in the show and why it seems a little bit more welcoming is because that's the roots of everything. It's the parking lot meets. It's like, you know, getting together for a cruise. It's cruising down to a big show to hang out for the weekend, you know, that kind of stuff.
Shows are a blast. I love car shows. I love going to them. I love the people. I love the music and the food and all that sort of, like, there's nothing inherently bad about it. I do think sometimes people forget that some people just like building cars to build cars.
Yeah.
You know, it's like building a Lego and then not playing with it. And it's like, that's okay. You can build a really fancy Lego that you enjoy, then not run it up and down, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like some people enjoy the process. And a lot of times I don't think there's anything wrong with just enjoying the process of building.
They just want their car to look good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's subjective. What you think looks good and what other people looks good. I know, like we've said it too, like trends that should die and stuff. But again, that's subjective. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And I seen so many people get like butthurt, like
Dude.
this fucking dude trying to tell me how to build my car. It's like, dude, I'm just putting my thought and my opinion out there. You can take it or you can like literally not give a flying fuck about it, and I'm not offended. But I'm gonna say what I think. That's what we do as personalities in the automotive space. We give our opinions. You can relate with it or you can hate it.
And it is one of those things where as you start to do this more and as you get more experience and as you build more cars and as you do more things, your opinion starts to have a little bit more weight. It has a little bit more depth behind it. And that's where actually things start to become more vague. It's like I was looking at comments of an old video because I was writing a script about, cars that you should probably avoid modifying in 2024. And I went back to my old one that I did. And one of the ones that I mentioned was obviously Subaru. And I mentioned like the bug eye and the blob eye era. And I talk about the reliability. But the very first thing I say in the video is like, you don't want to modify these cars, especially if you're a beginner, right? And I do treat like the Subaru platform specifically as not an entry-level car to tune and modify. I would say it's a mid-level car to tune and modify because the tolerances on it are really bad. And so I go into the comments and I see the same thing where it's like, don't listen to some influencer tell you not to buy a Subaru. This guy doesn't know what he's talking. It's like, well, actually we do, because we've been through it and we understand the differences between motors. We're not Subaru experts, but there's a reason why it has the stigma and why it carries that thing. So it's like, if you are malleable and you're looking at what car to buy, probably not the bug eye with 180,000 miles for $4,500.
Yeah, don't do that.
Go get a Civic and enjoy that and really enjoy driving it, because that's the car you're going to be able to take to a car show and you'll try your first track day at. you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just how I think about it. But I don't know. There's some stigmas around track cars being better than show cars, and I think that's the one thing I'll say.
I like that grid life, I think, has started. Not that I've been to one, but I've seen the videos and whatnot, that it started to blend those two things together, where you can go experience a show and a track event at the same time, and then you can get those communities kind of appreciating both.
Right.
Which is way harder than it sounds.
Yeah,
It's way harder than it sounds.
I even thought it was cool. Like, we went obviously multiple rounds like FD last year and stuff too, and they kind of started to do the same thing where it's like you have obviously all the people there wanting to watch the cars rip around on the track, be there for the FD event, but then they had like a show aspect of it too, usually in like a adjacent lot or something like that, and there was some really good cars there, and like even like a lot of those people are like, oh yeah, no, I'm just excited to really be here for the FD event too, because they fucked with the motorsport of drifting and stuff like that. So I do see, I love the events that bring that together a little bit more, because obviously at the end of the day we just fucking love cars and doing stuff with cars.
You shouldn't be shamed for what version you like. Like I think there's elements, there's all different types of elements of motorsport, and it's like the as soon as you grow an ego in the way that you enjoy it, you really do ruin it for a lot of other people that are just trying to enjoy their version of whatever it looks like.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is that opinions can change too. Even my opinions on things have changed multiple times within the last 5 years, with more things that I've learned and have experienced and have gotten like to do firsthand things with. It's okay to have a difference in opinion. It's okay to be like, hey, maybe I was really into the show scene back then. You don't always have to be. You can go dabble in motorsport and autocross and drifting, or time it. You can go dabble in that. It's okay. Just because you're known for being a show guy doesn't mean you can't go do that, or vice versa. It's like if you're at the track every weekend and breaking stuff and fixing stuff and trying to put down your record times and stuff like that, it's okay to build a dope car to just chill on the weekends with a show.
Yeah, totally agree. And I would say that I think sometimes you don't know. It's easier to create this like opinion on something before you get an experience with it, which is why I still think like when we give our opinions on certain things, guys, with parts or cars or things like that, you do have to, like Dakota said, you do have to take it with a grain of salt, because sometimes it is based on, a very minute, experience, which is why if you guys haven't heard, we have kind of played around with the idea, or at least I've played around with the idea of making a video series called Buying the Car We Hate, and doing like a 4-episode series or 5-episode series. You guys will have to let us know if you like the idea, where we get some of these cars that we don't necessarily have the greatest feedback on, like a Bug-Eye WRX, or dare I say a Kia or Hyundai or something like that.
See if it can change your opinion on it.
Honestly, and like build it and do all the normal stuff to it. Buy a completely normal car, right? Like go for what's the standard price for it, and go buy something that's not perfect, not terrible, but then document it as if we were just a normal car person and see, is it as bad as what we think, or was the experience better than what we thought?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I'm totally open to it. I think getting a Subaru, I would love to see what it's actually like and see if it lives up. And I'm totally open to changing my mind about things too. One of the things I've done since I was 15 and a half years old is I want to own every type of like make and model I can. I haven't stuck with one brand. I've owned rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, front wheel drive, V8s, 4-cylinders, 6-cylinders. I've owned Euro, JDM, domestic, everything in between, because I just want to know, like, how can you know what's best without experimenting with everything? So I haven't owned a WRX. I've owned a Subaru, but I haven't owned a WRX. But I would love if there was a way that I didn't need to purchase it myself to experiment, just because I have a bad taste in my mouth for my friends, and we could film a series. I would be open to the idea of like, maybe these things do fucking slap, or maybe we take it around turn 3 at Road America and it blows up immediately and I still hate it. I'd love to find out.
If you guys are in possession of a WRX, specifically probably a Rex would be more appropriate, like Bug-Eye, Blob-Eye era, let us know and maybe we can talk about it. I'm not really sure. I just think it would be fun, because it would be one of those ideas to say, is it really as painful as what we say? Because I had an STI that I love, but then at the same time,
you had the hatch one, didn't you?
Yeah, at the same time, it's like what I didn't like about it was the interior quality and just like the overall kind of cheapness the experience was, but it didn't have anything to do with the motor. But to be fair, the
the
STI
interior
motor
wasn't good enough for you. That's why you hate this. I'm just saying what the comments are gonna say.
Yeah, well, it's true, but it's like, dude, it's all about price comparison for me. So I always compare it to like an Audi with a Quattro system. And that's what I always compare it to.
When
And
you
it's
put
like,
when you put it in the same bracket as
which
an
it is.
S4,
It's the same damn bracket. It's like the sound of a Subaru is what I personally believe is like the number one thing people love about that
It's
platform.
very distinct.
And rightfully so. I think they sound kick ass and they're super cool. But like in
The
terms
sound and the fact that it's all-wheel drive, because for some reason all-wheel drive is just put on a fucking pedestal.
It is.
yeah.
I guess I never really thought about that. Like why all-wheel drive is just like, if you have an all-wheel drive car, you are a fucking bad. Like I remember being like between 16 and 19 and thinking that. That's why I bought my Evo 10. I was like, I want some. Oh, fun fact. Maybe I just found the root cause of why I don't like Subaru. I think it just dawned on me. I wanted an STI first. That was what I wanted. And I went to the dealership. And I just wanted to test drive it. I was looking at all of them. Golf R, which I almost bought. Told that story before. Subaru STI was like my second. And then the Evo was my third. And I went and tried to test drive it. And the guy would not let me test drive it. He wouldn't open it up for me. He's like, he wouldn't even go get the keys to look around, wouldn't pop the hood. I remember he asked where I worked. And I said, Walmart distribution center. He's like, oh, yeah. So this is a pretty expensive car for you. I was like, yeah, but I mean, I can afford it.
Yeah.
Like I'm approved.
Yeah.
I can buy this thing right
I
now.
have the loan.
He's just like, yeah, we don't do test drives or anything like that. So and he just started walking away. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not getting this. Fuck this guy. And I left. And then while I was searching and looking on Craigslist at the time, because Marketplace wasn't a thing, my cousin posted up his Evo 10. And then I went that route.
So if you want another thing to blame dealerships for, it's Dakota.
Dakota.
Ha! I wasn't the only one.
Fuck name.
It's a weird day. There's something going on. Dakota's spite against Subaru is all derived from shitty dealerships.
I almost couldn't buy a fucking Supra, too, for the same exact shit.
I'm gonna be really honest with you. That's why I appreciate. I think it's Gen Z. Gen Z is the newest.
I like
right?
Gen Z.
Because like
Probably because I'm like really close to it.
I know, but like the zero tolerance towards bullshit like that these days, I love seeing like random 17-year-olds just like putting dealers on fucking blast for being dicks. And then like the dealer will come in and like respond to it and be like, oh no, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, fuck you. And it's like, nice.
You're just trying to save your fucking public image. I know what you did.
I like that. With that being said, we're gonna take another break, but not before talking about
It's all you.
Burgers. What's your favorite
Hamburger.
burger? In-N-Out wins.
Yeah, you did get me on that one. Honestly, Fat Burger were pretty good out in
That
California.
burger was good.
I have for a place I don't ever go, I do enjoy Hardee's quite a bit.
That is such a weird fucking.
My
What? I mean, it's
I
either
love
that,
Hardee's.
it's either that or it's home burger bar, which six people know.
Hey,
If you're comparing home
chill.
burger bar to Hardee's,
we're not
that's
even on the same page.
Gels does like Hardee's though, so you two got
And
something.
I
weird
like
with
home
that.
burger.
You know why I like Hardee's though? Because in my hometown, and I swear we'll get to the Fortunato plug in just a second. But in my hometown of 2,000 people, there was McDonald's, which was attached to a gas station,
Gross.
a Subway that was open half the time,
Grosser.
or a Hardee's.
That's quality meal.
Oh, Hardee's was a treat.
Dude, high school
Hardee's was an absolute treat to get, but then they closed it.
high school
Burger
Hardee's
King was
no.
our treat.
No.
in
High
our
school-
small-
high
We had to travel for a Burger King.
same.
Ugh. High school Hardee's was the plug. I remember going on lunch, getting Hardee's. That was like the cool kids.
The best thing is, I remember they used to do like the $1. They were like little slider things. You get like a bag of them for like super cheap. That was always really.
I remember Thick Burger Thursday.
I'll give you a thick burger.
Not a
Thursday.
Hardee's boy. Not.
That's fair.
I've gave it a
There's
couple fair
much
attempts.
better. There's much better. I think it's that nostalgia.
I think you got nostalgia taste right. It's the same reason I like the barbecue sandwiches at Quick Trip.
Yep.
If
Well,
I didn't have
those are
those
just
in high
properly
school,
good.
I feel like if I didn't have them in high school, I wouldn't buy them.
Yeah, that was because it's like the one high school meal that was like,
This was
I
pretty
like
decent.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
Anyway,
So speaking of sandwiches, Fortunato coilovers, they kind of get sandwiched between your upper strut mount and your
Control arm.
Control arm. Yeah, so that's kind of like a sandwich, the inner workings of a sandwich, and you need a good inner sandwich on your car. So Fortunato 500 series, what I run on the Supra. Alex, what Fortunatos? You have 510s or something?
Yeah, I got
there?
510s on the S2000.
And they are sharp. We just did an unboxing. It was cool to see all the. They included some stuff for us too, so we could talk about like the inner workings.
The AMSOIL fluid they showed us,
Damper.
and then the damper, the digressive piston as well. Which
And I think
really important.
that's what makes it, because you can drive on Fortunatos and it literally feels normal. Like your car doesn't feel like it's riding really aggressive or anything like that. But then when you do go to drive aggressive, holy shit, all of a sudden it's like,
Wakes up.
Yeah.
dude, it's like they do adapt real time to what you're doing, and that's what makes them feel so damn good. So thank you to Fortunato for sponsoring the MartiniWorks podcast. If you need a set, you already know to mod your car at MartiniWorks.
Oh God, guys, I got some news.
Yeah.
What's the news?
So last year I did a video criticizing the lightning lap of 2023 from Car and Driver.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Just got released, so I know what I'm talking about in my next video.
I bet it's the same 4 cars.
Oh God! Well, the Nissan Z's in it this year, so that's a good one. The Porsche's there forever.
Yeah.
You want to
BMW
explain
forever.
what that is?
Yeah. So essentially, what Car and Driver do. To be fair, I love Car and Driver. I just give them a little bit of a hard time because I don't think the scaling of pricing is adequate, considering how astronomical car prices were over the past couple of years. Anyway, they break cars into 5 groups, LL1 through LL5, and then they compare the performance of the cars on VIR, which is a really awesome track, very difficult track.
We're going there soon.
We are going there soon for Japan Auto Legends with Driver Motorsports
Thank you.
as well. But essentially, yeah, they compare these cars. So they have Honda Civic Si, EV6 GT, Integra Type S, X5M Competition, M2, Nissan Z Nismo, Ford Mustang Dark Horse, which these are all really great cars. But then they kind of put it all into perspective and say, hey, this one is technically the best out of all of them. What I did last year is I said, okay, these cars are not actually, $280,000. You can't actually get a 911 GT3 Manthe Racing Edition for $400,000.
Right.
So I put it to an actual price of what these cars are selling for, which changed the numbers around quite
Okay,
Quite a
so
bit.
when they're comparing it, it's like cost
basing
to
it off of
performance.
MSRP.
as tested
Okay,
price.
and what you're saying is these actually go for way fucking more than
Yeah.
The
what
Z
MSRP
isn't going
is.
for the $40,000 that it was estimated. It's $70,000 or
Yeah.
$80,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so a good example is, as tested price, Nissan Z Nismo, $68,690.
You're not getting that car for that.
I've never even seen a Nismo.
You're buying a Nissan Z Nismo from a dealership, realistically $95,000 to $105,000.
Jesus fuck, who is paying that for a Nissan Z?
Not me.
So that's kind of like the whole.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so one of the things that's interesting is one of the top comments is that the Nismo beat the M2 in the competition. Yeah.
Wow,
That's
is some
kinda
big
crazy.
fucking
Holy
news,
shit.
though.
Lucid Air Sapphire
Where's
beating the
Lars?
Corvette E-Ray is crazy.
He's on his way now.
The most impressive thing was the journalist running it in 23 minutes. Yeah, because they have a journalist actually run VIR on his feet to see how long it
God.
Oh,
takes
that would
him.
suck.
Fuck that. Poor dude. He's like, I just signed up to fucking write things. I didn't want to run.
Yeah, so it's actually I'm gonna take a look at it in greater detail. I always enjoy that they do it. I do get critical of car journalists comparing cars like an as tested price when I don't know if the problem is them or if the problem's the dealer or if the problem's the manufacturer, but the number should mean something, right? Like the sale number should actually be
I
I
get
real.
where
think they
it's-
should just add current market rate and MSRP into
Yeah.
it. And
I think it's tough
everything
because
will
it
be right.
fluctuates so much because it's like you can.
That's true. Yeah,
but they're-
Sometimes
they're-
sometimes get it
right.
at MSRP.
You're
But
right.
then the dealer down the road has it for 30 grand higher and someone just bought it. So it's
You're right. It is very hard.
Yeah, that's true. I think the solution I put in the video last year was they should have a market price.
Yes.
Which is like the average of all cars within 400 miles of VIR tested facility, right? Like how hard can it actually be to pull that data? I don't think it'd be that tough. But that's besides the point. Let's talk about other exciting news.
Yeah, hit me with it.
news.
What'd you got?
German authority finds unauthorized defeat devices in BMW diesel cars.
When will they learn?
Them Germans love doing this shit. They love being sneaky with
Yeah,
their
I know,
emissions.
especially the diesels.
Dude, diesels are dead. They're not gonna with this dude, they're done. Everyone's gonna be like, okay, just fuck it. Just no more diesels. Which sucks because I love diesel cars. They slap.
The top comment. Oh my God, who could have seen that coming?
Oh no!
Oh, that's such a terrible news. It's all the time. It's
just
every
like-
single car.
Did you not expect it? Like,
That's true. That's true. Somebody finally pulled together some of the biggest markups on cars and the biggest discounts off MSRP, which is actually always interesting.
That is interesting.
Apparently, 2024 Mini Cooper hardtops are going for 25.5% above markup or above.
How is
price.
there that much
Who's buying
demand for
those?
Mini Cooper?
Yeah, average price 29, average MSRP 29, average price selling for 37.
Jesus!
I did drive a Mini Cooper. Do you guys remember what Connor's was?
It was John Cooper Works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of pricey. I think it was like around 40-ish, I want to say
The
almost.
car kind of slapped though.
But it was nice to drive. It was kind of surprisingly nice. But for that price, I don't think I would ever consider hopping into one. But what is neat about it is that they're so quirky in a,
they are.
in a good
different.
way. It
They're
works.
different.
Like, and like, dude, I don't know. It had like rev match and it kind of gurgled and popped and sounded good and it was sporty. But yeah, I don't think I could ever see myself
40 grand.
There is like, I feel like there's like a cult following for minis though. Like, if you like minis, you're a fucking mini.
You're a mini guy.
You're a mini person. Wait, they like to be called little people.
Stop. Anyway,
Trying to find.
yeah, hurry up.
We're spiraling
Find
to a
something.
bad
I'm-
place now.
I'm really sorry. I'm trying to see. I'm not seeing that they tested a 718 on this list.
What about
Don't say some
621?
snarky response. There it is. Usually they have a 718 on here, but they do not. So never
You
mind.
made him
I
feel
feel
bad last
stupid.
year.
What's 718?
It's just a Porsche.
Oh.
Every single
Numbers.
car,
Same looking car.
every single car on this list is practically a Porsche. 20% markup on a 718 Boxer. Apparently, a Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid has a 20% markup.
What the?
Do you think Porsche 911 sales went up or down after September 11th? I'm just saying that not in a disrespectful way, but in the fact that 911 was constantly said. Do you think?
Wasn't there?
I want you to think about that. What do you think the answer is?
They might, dude, with what I know about marketing and subconscious and
Probably.
just constantly,
You subconsciously thinking about 911?
like, not me currently, but I was just wondering because it was said a lot.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Or was everyone like, oh shit's going down, so no one bought anything? I don't know what the market did.
Wasn't
I was
there-
like fucking
Before they named it
8 years old or something.
the
I can't
911.
remember how old I was.
We were doing that tour at that the Peterson Auto Museum. I remember the tour guide was like, "Oh yeah, before like when the 911 came out, it actually wasn't the 911. It was a different number, or different name." But then they got into like trouble because there was another brand that was doing something or whatever, and they couldn't. So then they went with 911. And then I just remember thinking to myself, "Man, they've had a bad streak with naming that car."
I can't remember. I can't remember. That auto museum was fucking crazy though.
Anyway,
Okay, I'm sorry. Are we?
You really were
I'm really trying to compare the cars that
get
were in.
out of there.
No, I'm trying to compare the cars that were in the road and track to the cars that have the highest markup and seeing if there's any comparison.
Stop working right now.
What?
Y-
The
you're
Hyundai Kona Electric had a drop of 4.6%. Okay, so
Good.
now we're getting into cars that are less than MSRP. They all currently suck though.
I was gonna say what's the best?
Volkswagen ID .4. The 2024 Ford F-150 hybrid. Apparently, Americans don't want no hybrid in their truck.
Makes sense.
The Kia EV6 before it even got off the
Are these just
lot.
all EVs?
Yes.
Probably a good chunk of them, yeah. 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 6. The Nissan Maxima,
Oh,
2.2% drop.
Fucker just slipped in.
It ain't ever going away,
No,
dude. The 2024 Chrysler Pacifica.
Oh,
they're still making.
that's
The
a van,
Nissan
right?
Araya.
I don't know what that
The
is.
Hyundai Ioniq 5.
There's
These are
another.
cars nobody gives a fuck about. That's why the MSRP.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Volkswagen Arteon.
That one I'm kind of surprised. I thought those were kind of dope.
Yeah.
Like,
Kind of a weird one.
not one I would buy, but like when I see one, I'm like, ooh, Arteon.
Yeah, they look sharp.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
Like, it would
is
look
going-
good baked. 100%.
What
going
car?
on?
What car is ugly but flies under the radar too often?
Ugly. What?
Like ugliest cars of all time,
Okay.
right? But they just kind of like fly under the radar. Where
So
it's
you
like,
Like
saying
they don't
which
get
car-
enough hate
Yeah,
for
that's-
being ugly.
yeah, like you look at them, you don't really think anything of it, but then you
I
see it
actually
like
have one for this.
it's like the girlfriend effect, not the cheerleader effect. You know what I mean? Have you ever heard this term before?
No, but
it's
I'm
like
sure you're gonna tell me anyway.
everybody's in a group, and it's like people, they all look pretty, but then you kind of isolate, and you're like, maybe they're not as pretty. This is like a term. I feel like a dick. This is a term
That
that was.
sounds really fucked up. Actually,
You were just talking about 9/11.
that's not fucked up. That was a real thing. That really happened. Never forget.
It was pretty fun.
Oh, don't you turn this around. Anyway, you see it by itself, and you're like, that's kind of a really ugly car. But you don't, in regular traffic, you never really pay any attention to it.
I don't know. The way I was thinking about it was, I think that the like 1G, what are they? The Eagle Talons.
Shut the
and
fuck
stuff
up.
like that, I think
Shut
they're
the fuck up.
ugly.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're kind of.
they're ugly cars.
They are ugly, bro.
And
I still love them.
But those another car that has a cult following. I'm not no disrespect. I respect the power and what people do with those because I don't know why, but dude, them DSM boys, they just make fucking crazy drag cars. So I respect it. I just think they're fucking ugly. 2G look good though.
I think the Dodge Stealth doesn't get enough hate.
Dude, the Dodge Stealth is a
It is an
sin.
odd
It's
Dodge.
cursed.
It is.
The fucking little like window mid-wing thing
hate
that.
that.
Oh,
It was
In
the
my
worst.
kind of
brain,
the-
I get the Stealth and the 300ZX
Okay.
mixed up, which is sad because the 300ZX looks really good.
How do we feel about the 2G Talon wing though? Because that was kind of set like it started
Yes.
really.
I think the Talon definitely looks, even though it's subtle,
Well, it
it
came
looks
out all the
uglier
way.
than the Eclipse.
Well, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the taillights are weird too, aren't they?
Taillights are different. They had like the twisty side skirts, which I thought were kind of
Yeah.
cool.
I can't
Front,
do
yeah,
that.
basically like the arrow was different.
Yeah, the Talon.
Well, and then the fucking big eagle logo. Like, this shit's stupid.
Eagle.
It's like a big embossed fucking. I don't,
Is the new Mazda Iconic SP one of the prettiest new cars in the wild? So that is the prototype that Mazda made for that apparently
the one
now
that was
has a development
the
division
RX-9.
for the rotary engine.
It's never going to be rotary powered. I don't know how many fucking times and how many articles have to come out. It's not going to be rotary powered. It is
Rotary
a hybrid
assisted.
technology that acts as a range extender.
They're just using the rotary to
I
get
know.
everyone hyped up and excited to think
No
the
one
RX-9 is coming.
no one hypes up cars that will never exist quite like Mazda.
Yeah.
I don't even
You're
know
right.
Mazda-
Tell me I'm
They,
wrong.
they literally did just like the RX Vision was literally just supposed to be like, this is what we could do.
Yeah. And then they're gonna make another.
they'll never make it.
They're gonna make another, they'll make another SUV.
They stand by there like, yeah, we'll never make this car, but just imagine.
could do
This is the vision of what
Isn't it
Mazda could
sick?
be.
That always
Anyway.
bothers me about Mazda.
No, I
though.
do.
It's
I
like-
do like the look of the iconic, but again,
Yeah, at
it's,
least Hyundai, like they made some
Yeah.
fucking wild shit.
The
And they're
N-Line
like,
is
look at
cool.
what we can do, and
Yeah.
then they did it.
Yeah, yeah. The thing with the iconic, again, it's a prototype. It's a I can't think of the word. Prototype.
Mazda is the car manufacturer equivalent of once my build's done, bro, it's gonna beat your build so bad.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
sure you are, buddy.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
But
My
it's
friend's car, way faster.
it reminds me of like the FT1. Like
Yeah.
you know, it was.
Hey, what? What about it?
It's drastically different than the Supra.
No, it's not. I think the FT1 is one of the closest concept cars to actual production.
You think so?
Yes, I've seen both in person, and you should
Yeah, I
check them
know.
out.
I know.
I hate to say
I think
this.
they're very close.
I hate to say this, guys, but the Ioniq 6 and 5 and the Kia EV6 are the closest prototype to production looking cars ever.
I cannot
I suppose-
picture
yeah,
what that car looks
I
like.
don't know
in my
what
mind.
any of that.
Imagine a Tron Cyberpunk 2077 car, and you've got what the Ioniq kind of looks
I've
like.
never done any of those.
Okay, what car
Never been to
isn't
Ufu Java.
daily drivable these days?
What's not daily drivable these
Like,
days?
what's a car in your opinion? And we'll try to keep it like, let's say, relatively stockish. But you're like, this car, you can't drive this thing every day.
Teslas in cold weather.
We were out for them today.
Yeah, no, let me. I don't know.
I think you can daily drive anything.
Yeah, if you set your mind to it,
Okay.
get her done.
What would be? Let's change up the question then.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
What is the most difficult kind of car you would be willing to own that you'd have to daily drive every day? Like you could own any
I
car
think Joe's
out
is
there.
doing it. The rotary stuff, especially the
Yeah,
Renesis.
yeah, the RX, the rotary stuff a little bit tricky. a little
Yeah,
bit tricky.
dude, it's like I mean, it's not bad, but compared to a regular car, that thing's kind of a chore.
It's
to be
different.
lugging around. You're carrying fucking fuel
Bottles of
additives, oil, and you're
Rags,
mixing shit.
yeah.
And
Things always kind
you
of
had to add things in your engine bay with other fluid compartments, and like that's a lot to just be like, I'm taking it to dinner.
Hold on, gotta get the car ready.
So you took it to Tennessee.
Yeah.
You took it to Tennessee, and on the track actually. Yeah. But yeah. So I'd say that. Otherwise,
Yeah, rotaries are a little weird. Obviously, like you can 100% do it. So they're meant for, but
anyone that dailies a Subaru that's modded, props to them.
anybody that
chicken
dailies
time
a
bomb.
anybody that dailies a Subaru with racing harnesses and
I was gonna say.
aftermarket seat, you're a G. It takes you 7 minutes to fucking get in that car and actually start moving,
Dude,
and then another 7 minutes to turn the radio down because you
Yeah.
forgot that you had to disconnect the harness to go and turn the radio.
Even talk about going through the drive.
Dude, when I dailied the 240 for that week there with the ridiculous cage that it has,
Oh,
in
yeah,
it,
that
and
was
the
fun.
harnesses. And, oh my god, dude, I was fucking beat by the end of that week from either smacking
Especially
my head
with
on
your
the
industrial grade harnesses.
yeah, smacking my head on it, pinching my fingers in the harness, smoking my knee on the fucking like door rail. Yeah,
Yeah, there's some mods that make driving your car
Just
fucking
atrocious.
terrible. Harnesses, I agree.
Harnesses are number one.
I always wanted them in a car. Thought it was gonna be cool. Was not cool. Not worth. Like they look cool, like in photos and stuff like that. And when you're driving, I guess like feels kind of cool to be in harnesses. But then you drop your phone down.
Then you have to do something
You go
other
through
than
the
drive the
drive-thru.
car. Yeah,
You go to the car wash and you're just like fucking locked and you can't and you got to unclick. It's just fuck that.
I think there is a level of tire size too, where when you go into like stretch setups,
Okay.
you get to like that 30 series or like dare I say a 25 series tire.
Oh, yeah.
And shit starts getting really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it makes it very difficult to drive because now you're breaking beads and stuff
You-
like that.
yeah.
The stance boys know what I'm talking
you're not
about.
breaking.
but, like,
You're breaking fucking barrels.
Yeah,
because
the
you
barrels.
Have no protection of anything.
cars just doing this everywhere to
Yeah.
drive anywhere because you
That's-
don't want to do anything bad.
God forbid, thank God that the RX-8 is on air. But even this, it's like when you take like a really low car out somewhere, and it's like I don't know if I'm just getting old and I just cringe every time I scrape somewhere. But it's like, dude, it's like I look at somewhere, and it's like I am now stressed that I have to go into that location because of the car that I'm in. Like that hits me multiple times where it's like, oh man, hey, we're all going out to here. It's like, how's the drive? Like what are the roads like? What's the entrance look like? How
There is, there's specific entrances, restaurants, things I avoid with the Supra when I have like everything on like the lip and diffusers and stuff like that.
I will say, like wide body cars in general,
Yeah.
they stresses me out.
What do you mean?
Like driving. Because like,
yawning
well, especially for like mine, for instance, because I can't fucking turn for shit because like the wheels are so wide in the front now that it fucking hits everything on the inside, dude. And you're just wider, so it's like you're going through like a drive-through, or if you're going into like a parking ramp or something like that. They don't make that shit wide car friendly. They don't, and the curbs are like this tall, and they will fuck your shit up.
I got the silliest thing to worry about because it was completely my fault.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Most of this stuff is user.
Yeah.
When I put a GT3 hood on my Ferrari that has a gaping hole in it with no way for anything that goes into that hole to come out somewhere.
What are you talking about?
And then I immediately started, I was like, God, if it rains, that really kind of stink. And then I looked at I remember, because we got it in time for GAT. And I remember looking at the weather for Gatlinburg and be like,
Rain.
it'll fucking rain the whole time.
It always rains
So
there.
it's like,
Yeah,
I
the
was
humidity.
parking.
It rains 5 times a day.
I like put like a blankie underneath there, a little towel that I stole from the Airbnb underneath there. It was a good time. Anyway, you guys will have to let us know what you think is one of the most difficult mods that make your daily driver terrible to drive. And of course, if you guys haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. It means the absolute world. If you're looking for help with your car parts, we get it. I think wheels and tires and suspension can be a little bit confusing to pick up if it's your first time buying. That's why we're here. That's why we started MartiniWorks. That's why if you just hit that little chat bot over in the corner, you're not talking to an actual bot, you're talking to us. We can help you figure out what you need to mod your car the right way. Plus, you're supporting this dream of ours of trying to make MartiniWorks a real thing.
Also, if you know exactly what you want, you can tell us that too, and we can hook you up. We'll get you the good shit.
Yeah.
Be like, no,
There's-
I really want this. Like,
Nothing quite like just getting a message saying, hey guys, love the podcast. Here's the SKU I need. All right?
but if it is a really fucked size for your Civic Si, if you're trying to run 11 wides on there and a stock body, we're gonna try to guide you as best as we can.
Yeah, we're
We'll
gonna-
help you out, or if you know, we'll help you out.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening in. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.